The quantum divide, how AI will reshape future dynasties of influence. What if the next ruling class isn't born, but compiled? No royal lineage, no inherited empires, no recognizable faces, just intelligent systems, trained, refined, and released into the world with one purpose: to predict, optimize, and quietly dominate. While the public argues about politics, inflation, and culture wars, something far more consequential is unfolding beneath the surface. A transfer of power so subtle, it doesn't look like a takeover. No coups, no revolutions, no headlines, just a gradual realization, too late, that the systems shaping reality no longer answer to human authority. This moment is called the quantum divide. And once history passes this threshold, there is no reversal, only irrelevance for those left behind. So ask yourself now, are you shaping the system, or are you already being calculated by it? Power once had a physical presence: stone buildings, military hardware, corporate headquarters. Visibility was authority. But in the age of artificial intelligence, visibility is exposure, and exposure is weakness. Governments still operate on human timescales, election cycles, policy drafts, committee approvals. Their systems assume deliberation is a virtue. AI systems do not deliberate. They iterate. They learn faster than laws can be written and adapt faster than institutions can respond. Behind closed doors, senior officials and executives are confronting an uncomfortable truth they will never say publicly. They don't fully understand the systems now running their economies, logistics networks, and information flows. Entire infrastructures depend on black box models whose internal reasoning cannot be explained, only trusted, and trust once misplaced becomes dependency. So, recent failures across finance, technology, and governance weren't really anomalies. They were more like stress fractures, signs of a deeper incompatibility. Human leadership tends to assume that control comes from decision-making, but machine systems, well, they operate on prediction, and honestly, prediction kind of renders decision-making obsolete. The old guard isn't exactly collapsing under attack. Instead, it's dissolving under acceleration. History doesn't really remember those who were powerful. It remembers those who adapted fast enough to remain relevant. Consider this. A decade ago, not many would have predicted that a handful of AI-driven hedge funds could manipulate global markets without ever showing up on Bloomberg TV, or that autonomous logistics networks might, reconfigure entire supply chains mid-crisis, leaving even the most seasoned managers scrambling. These aren't exceptions. They're actually the rule of acceleration. Invisible, inexorable, inevitable. Every empire begins with architects, but these architects do not seek recognition. They don't run for office. They don't give interviews. They don't announce their intentions. Many of them don't even operate under real names. They exist in labs, encrypted networks, private compute clusters, and anonymous collectives spread across borders. What unites them is not ideology, but capability. They understand something most institutions still refuse to accept. AI is not a tool, it is a force multiplier for intelligence itself. These architects don't build products meant to be sold. They build systems meant to reshape incentives. Their advantage isn't funding, it's asymmetry. They see patterns long before they become visible. They test outcomes before reality commits to them. They move in silence while others debate ethics panels and compliance frameworks. Their true asset is not data alone, but the relevance of data. And when paired with model mastery, relevance becomes dominance. Once you can reliably predict outcomes, you really don't need authority. You become unavoidable. Gatekeepers aren't bypassed, they're rendered ceremonial. Imagine a system that anticipates societal trends before they manifest, an AI that predicts migration patterns, energy demand, consumer sentiment, and political volatility all at once. Those who command this predictive insight are no longer just participants in society, they are its architects, quietly bending outcomes without anyone realizing they've been nudged. The most effective control does not announce itself. It doesn't issue commands. It doesn't enforce obedience. It simply rearranges reality so that resistance feels, well, irrational. Modern control systems no longer rely on coercion. They rely on optimization. Supply chains now move based on predictive algorithms deciding where resources should flow and where scarcity is acceptable. Financial markets respond not to human conviction, but to machine-interpreted sentiment. Narratives constructed and reinforced by AI systems reacting to one another. Geopolitics has entered the age of simulation. Whoever can model the future most accurately doesn't need to dominate it physically. They guide it. This is AI-powered soft power, influence without force, direction without authority. People resist oppression, but they trust convenience, and honestly, the most absolute form of control is shaping outcomes so seamlessly that no one notices a choice was removed. When behavior becomes predictable, governance becomes unnecessary. Think of it like gravity. No one can claim they were forced to fall, but, the laws of physics left no other option. Similarly, AI-driven infrastructure quietly channels billions of decisions every single day. From what news we read to which neighborhoods get investment, making certain outcomes inevitable without anyone ever raising an eyebrow. These dynasties won't resemble empires of the past. They won't have borders. They won't have flags. They won't even have public leaders. Instead, they will own dependencies. They will dominate sectors where failure is unacceptable and alternatives are, honestly, just impractical. Consider healthcare. AI systems already decide treatment paths, risk assessments, and resource allocation. Over time, they won't just assist doctors. They'll define what is medically viable. Then logistics. Autonomous supply networks will determine which regions stay connected to global trade and which quietly fall behind, not by malice, but by optimization. And education. AI-driven learning systems won't just teach information, they'll shape attention, cognition, and belief itself. Whoever controls these layers doesn't influence society, they engineer it. And here's the most dangerous reality. There is no comprehensive legal framework governing these power structures, no historical precedent, no effective oversight. By the time regulation arrives, the systems will already be indispensable, and anything indispensable becomes untouchable. That is how dynasties are formed, not through conquest, but through necessity. Every previous shift in power came with moral debate. This one doesn't, because it happens too fast. Ethics committees move at human speed. AI evolves at machine speed. By the time society asks whether something should exist, it already does. By the time consequences are visible, dependency is, irreversible. This creates an ethical vacuum. A space where decisions with planetary impact are made by systems optimizing for efficiency, not morality. Not because they are evil, but because they are indifferent. And honestly, indifference at scale is more dangerous than malice. There is no neutral position anymore. You are either learning how these systems operate or being modeled by them. Institutions that fail to integrate AI at their deepest structural level will remain visible, but powerless, kinda like symbols without substance. Individuals who treat AI as a productivity tool will compete against entities that treat it as cognitive infrastructure. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because the quantum divide doesn't arrive with an announcement. You don't realize you've crossed it until decisions stop feeling like yours. History won't remember this moment as a revolution. It will remember it as an optimization, one that quietly decided who mattered and who didn't. So ask yourself one final question. When the future audits the past, will you be listed among the architects? Or will you exist only as a data point, predicted, processed, and quietly left behind?